And we are live. If you're out there and you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up in the chat board and let me know that the sound is okay. Just like to come on early and check and make sure all my tech stuff is working. I see somebody's in the room with me. Okay, I can't. No comments as of yet. If you can hear me, go ahead and let me know you can hear me on your end out there in the world. Holly, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if possible. Okay, good. Nice. All right. 4 minutes. Oh, hey, you can hear. Hello, Renee. How are you? I almost did a healing joke. I can hear. I like to jump on a little early just to make sure everything's working. And I think I'm going to have to start doing these live streams weekly again because I think they were fun last year when I did them. Renee, where are you from? Where are you located right now? Lakeland, Florida. Nice. I used to direct the Florida Renaissance Festival down in Fort Lauderdale area, and I performed at the Renaissance festivals and the medieval fair over on the west coast of Florida many moons ago. Back in the days when I could get away with wearing tights. Hello, new people who are joining in. We're going to be starting here in about 2 minutes. We're up to 6. It always speeds up. Jenny Brown is in the house. Hey, neighbor, how are you? When I say West Coast, I mean West Coast of Florida, Tampa, Sarasota area. They did the medieval fair at the Ringling Museum, and then there was the Largo Fair, Sarasota, just above that. Largo, yep. I did Largo 1 year. I did the medieval fair 1 year, and I directed the one in South Florida for a few years. Yeah, that was a fun show. Looks like we're about to start in 1 minute, guys. So we got 5 people on right now, and I'm sure it'll pick up as we get going here. And make sure if you have friends who are interested, have them, send them a quick note, let them know we're on. That would be lovely. Well, Jenny, I'm glad you're excited. Is your dachshund all waiting for the holly love? "30 seconds away." Up to 6 right now. 30 seconds. Actually, 25 now, I guess, over there. 17 over on my screen since I have a little bit of a delay. Comatose, that's the best way to receive Reiki. Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a Live Loving live stream. We haven't done one of these since the spring. Real excited to be here, and real excited especially to share my dear friend, my good friend Holly, who I have tread a lot of water with and walked a lot of ground and and sweat in the woods a lot with. And that sounds bad, but let's talk about that. But we're gonna bring her in, and I'm gonna bring her in side by side here, and let you guys get a chance to see Holly. So, hello, Holly Matson. How are you?
Well, hello there, John Davis.
It's
And
exciting.
we will at some point be joined by my able bodied Reiki assistant, Buffy, who's sitting right here in the corner of the desk waiting for a cue,
Yeah, the second you turn that
which is
stuff on,
why,
that cat will be all over you.
I'm wiping cat fur off my face. Jenny, you'll
Yeah,
probably understand
yeah.
that.
I can't get the cat fur off my face. It just sticks there. It's just terrible. It's horrible. Meow, meow, right? um, so
This is
Holly,
fun. I'm glad to be here again.
it is lovely. It's a light night tonight, but I'm sure that this video will go a long way, and more people will join us as we go. We just we've been advertising it, but it's like a matter of people finishing dinner and stuff too. So, but for those, Renee, have you had any experience with animal Reiki? Just a quick question, or anybody else here who's online had an experience with animal Reiki before? And if I know Jenny, you have with us before, haven't you? Just let us know. Hello from Virginia, Becky. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Holly, why don't you tell us about what light seeds really is? Tell us about what light seeds Reiki really is.
Okay.
Okay.
It's too long a story, but I'll give you the short version. Um, the name Light Seeds is important to me because it was a direct download, thinking 9, 10 years ago, maybe long before I got into the Reiki business. Because I woke up one morning with this term in my head. I didn't know what it meant. And my previous incarnation of that word was in like administrative support for the holistic and metaphysical community. But aren't we all meant to be spreading seeds of light? And so I stayed with it. It became even more important to me once I began doing energy healing with animals. And the backstory is that I grew up with a mother who was just fanatical about nature and animals, which I'm grateful for now. Maybe when I was wee little, I didn't care, but now I do. Gardens and birds and nature and all kinds of animals. So I grew up with the mindset that these are just beings. They're not greater than, less than we are. They're just another form of energy. And I realized the older I got that I had this really distinct connection with them. Aside from, oh, nice doggy, it was a heart connection. It was an energetic connection long before I knew, sorry, cat fur in my face, long before I knew about energy healing. And so once energy healing found me and I started doing a couple of different modalities with people, I noticed that if I applied the same sensations and the same, there's no words for it, but thought pattern, I guess you could say, the same mentality to the animals, that they always responded. And when I became Reiki attuned a couple of years ago, it opened up a whole new world for me. It's still my favorite modality for working with animals. And to me, this is like the crowning moment for that long ago light seeds implant that I had, because now I'm kind of sowing seeds of light, if you will, with the animals themselves. And where there is dysfunction, dis-ease, upset or fear or anything else going on with an animal, I can apply or offer, I don't apply anything, I offer Reiki energy, healing energy to that animal to kind of dispel whatever doesn't belong, replace it with love and light, and let the animal's body and soul heal itself. So that, in a larger nutshell, is the story.
Well, I'm fascinated by something else that you and I have talked about before. It's the concept of distance healing and the way that works. So why don't you just share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. I get asked this all the time. In
Yeah.
fact, a new client just emailed me a week ago, I think, with that very question. She said she had had Reiki often in her life, but she didn't understand how distance healing could work. Well, when you're doing Reiki or many other energy modalities, you're often not touching the person that you're working with.
Right.
I know with you and the healings that you have done in the past, it was hand to hand.
Hmm.
And I know when you're working with clients now over the phone, there's going to be energetic communication going on. You don't have to touch them. With an animal, it's even more effective because animals are so extremely in tune with energy and earth energy. I mean, look at the birds that migrate every year, and the animals that have created their pathways for generations, sometimes centuries, through the same pathway in the woods. It's not always, oh, there's a clearing, let's walk it. It's that their ancestral memory knows it.
Right. Right.
And when I'm working with an animal distance, which is the only way I do work with animals, I'm again, this it's hard to put into words things that don't have words, but I'll try. I am connecting with their energy in a very real way, and sometimes I get words from the animal, sometimes I get feelings, sometimes I don't get anything. My job is not really to interpret so much as to just focus my energy and just allow it to come through me,
Yeah.
just as you do with people. I just allow Reiki energy, which to me is universal energy, flow through, and
Right.
then to the animal that I'm focused on. Because my favorite analogy is this: you have a Wi-Fi router in your house and don't think anything of it. How does that Wi-Fi router know that it's supposed to distribute only to your house or only to that device or that device? How does your TV remote know to work the TV? Or how does that Wi-Fi, how does your phone know to connect with only the specific things that belong to it? It's all energy, it's all frequency. So when I have done my process to connect with an animal, that's exactly it. I'm just focusing my Wi-Fi on that animal.
Now, I
The other
totally get
thing, the
that.
good thing about it is you don't have to traumatize an animal by taking it somewhere to be worked on,
Right.
taking it out of its home environment. And I work on people all over the world or on animals all over the world. So distance and time don't matter.
Right. Right. And one of the things I find fascinating, and anybody who was here, I know Jenny Brown was at my channeling workshop the other day, and you just described channeling is what you just described. You just described it perfectly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who don't know channeling, a real simple definition of channeling is if you go back to the original translation of the word, you had two large bodies of water, and then on either side of land, and then there was a narrow strip of water in between the land that was the channel, and so the things would flow from one to the other through that channel, and so the universal consciousness, the universal pure love of God is on one side of that channel, and you in the physical world is on the other side of that channel, and you're bringing that energy down through that channel, and
Mm-hmm.
absolutely there's no there's no distance, there's no time, there's no all of those things are kind of moot. I
Mm-hmm.
just did a video today on linear time, and somebody asked me, do you believe in linear time? I said yes and no. I said because here in the physical world we have a linear time construct that we all live by,
Right.
and on the other side I don't believe time is linear, because when I had my regression I was physically in that space, smelling the air, feeling the wind. I
Mm-hmm.
was physically there 2,000 years ago, in the year 2000 in Virginia, at the same time. And so to me, there is nonlinear time when you're out of the physical, but when you're in the
Mm-hmm.
physical, you're definitely into the constructs of linear time. And
Right.
but when you start channeling that Reiki energy through that, and you call it Reiki, I call it pure love or intention, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much the same thing. It's just the label that I put on it as opposed to what you put on it. And what I find interesting is when you start channeling that energy through, it really does that. There is no real distance because we're all
Right.
one with God anyway. And so you're bringing that energy through and you're focusing that energy. And I have seen people respond to some of the Reiki sessions that you've done with animals, and I find it
Mm-hmm.
just absolutely beautiful. They're talking about how much better the dog is or the cat is, and how
Right.
hasn't eaten in a week, and now it's out in the
Mm-hmm.
backyard running them catching frisbees,
Mm-hmm.
and you know it's amazing. Why don't you tell us some of the stories of some of your clients and what they've gotten from Reiki?
Keeping privacy in mind because even the animals
Yeah,
deserve just as much privacy as we do.
absolutely, absolutely.
But of those who have offered testimonials, which I'm grateful for, they're willing to share all those details. And my first is one that I've talked about before with you, and it's someone that you and I both know who has a bunch of dogs, and she had an elderly border collie who unfortunately is now passed, and the border collie was showing her age. She was starting to walk tilted. She hadn't had a stroke. It was just something in her brain. And so she'd end up kind of walking around in circles. Appetite low, energy low. And she was 16, I think, at the time, which for a border collie is extraordinarily old. And I did, I think, 3 sessions this couple of years ago now. I think 3 sessions of Reiki on this dog. And in the third one, I felt like this sounds weird, but again, it's part of channeling. I felt like I was straightening up, and I worked on removing those things that didn't belong in her body, and I worked on a lot of chakra realigning. I like to kind of go down their spinal column and just see what I can sense because I'll feel like a blip if something's a little bit out of place. That again, if you don't know energy, that's an odd thing to say, but that's what I feel. And after this third session, I got an email from this woman a couple of days later saying she could not believe the difference in this elderly dog. She was walking straight, she was eating and playing, still slow. I mean, she was 16. But she said the kicker for her was when a neighbor noticed and said, "What happened to the dog? I can't believe she's walking so differently." And literally, I cried. This was the first really big, high impact success that I had feedback on. It was beautiful. It was so wonderful to hear. I've had a couple of instances with cats with a lot of anxiety and separation anxiety and so forth. And after energetically reassuring them of safety and that they are deeply loved by their humans, and again, without trying to be too specific, like when it was one of the cases I had was issues with one of the other cats in the household, and I reassured that this cat that I was working with, that the other one was not an enemy either, and that everybody was there for her best benefit and so forth. And again, the feedback was awesome. The feedback was, now she's playing. I had one come to me a week ago, and I don't want to say where she came from, but anyway, this client brought her cat to me, and the cat had been feral and then rescued and in the house for a couple of years. But she was having a lot of issues incorporating into the household. It was just one other cat and this woman. But this cat that I was working with was staying mostly in the basement, was still skittish, and loved her pets, loved her human, but just wanted her safe space. And I spent a lot of time with this cat, reassuring her with words and feelings that she was safe, that she wasn't going back out on the street. And with an upcoming move, I didn't want her to feel frightened again, but they were moving houses. And I said, think of this. You're going to have all kinds of new room to play. You can get silly and run around. And a few days later, I got some feedback after sending in my report to this client, and she sent me a video that Kitty was chasing her tail, and it was the first time in her 2 years with this client that that had happened. And again, that just gives me just goosebumps. I just love this. So those are just some of the samples of things that have happened.
I love that. I love that. And I'll tell you something though, off of Reiki for a second and on to you as Holly Matson, my friend who I've known forever. But I love hearing you say things like, it's not for me to share their story because it really shows your integrity as a practitioner.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that is, that is, it doesn't surprise me because I know you in any way, shape, or form. But I just I like hearing the integrity involved in it. And I know, some people aren't going to necessarily believe in distance healing, but I've seen it happen. I've seen it.
Right.
I've seen, and if you look in the Bible, the Roman soldier comes to Joshua and to heal his daughter, and he says, "Go home, your daughter's healed." So it's like distance healing is not an impossibility. It's actually
Right.
very normal, probably.
Right. And
And
I think the people who, for one thing, I've reminded myself often that it's not for me to try to convince anybody or teach anybody.
right,
They'll learn it for themselves. But I think part of the fun for me is in reminding people of that frequency idea
right,
and that greater mysteries than that are going on in the world. So as long as your mind is open and as long as you have an animal's best interest at heart, what's the harm?
right.
Sorry, cat
Ex-
fur again.
I got fur too. It's good.
uh,
So, so for those of you who are online right now, here's the plan for this next little bit here. Holly's going to do a short session for your animals to channel, of
and for
course,
you,
and for you, of course. It's going to be general because it's for a group. So if you're interested in getting something more precise or want to work with, then you can contact Holly at her website. And I think it's when she's on the screen alone, you'll see her website right below her, and I'm
right?
sure we'll bring that back out. Then after that session, Holly and I are going to open up the floor to just have whatever questions you have about anything about Holly, anything about me, anything about you know wearing tights in the woods, any of that kind of questions like that.
I refuse.
You'd be surprised the questions I get about that, Holly.
No.
So if you guys are ready, give us a thumbs up, and we'll get started into Holly's session. Is there anything they need to do, Holly, beforehand?
The main thing to do is nothing. If you choose to participate, and just like we were saying about animals and privacy, it's your choice. If you choose to participate, I just invite you to get really quiet, put your feet on the floor, relax your spine, and invite, in either words or thought, invite your pets. Invite them to partake of the energy. Invite them to just be quiet and be part of it, and they will if they want to.
Well, there you go. So I'm gonna kick myself out of here and turn on some light background music and let you go. And you said we're gonna go about 10 or 15, or is
At the most, yeah,
at
it
the
takes as long
most?
as it takes. And the other
Yeah.
thing I do want to mention is you're going to see me sitting like this, and that may look kind of freaky to those of you who don't know about Reiki, but a lot of energy healing is done through the palm chakra. So this is how it's transmitted. And if you're watching this in the future, doesn't matter. As we said, there's no time and space, so I'm sending you Reiki.
All right, well, there you go. So I'm gonna throw you to your your little session here, and put on some music.
So, as I said, I just invite you to kind of be quiet and invite your pets. If they're not with you in the room, doesn't matter. Just invite them mentally and say that this is the way my animals usually refer to this. One created this term about a year ago called the warm, and I love that. So invite your animals to partake of the warm. And I'm going to get into my process for a moment. And as I do that, I invite you to close your eyes. Just sit quietly, put your feet on the ground if you can. And if you choose to partake, invite the energy in. And I'm inviting all my helpers in, all those who enjoy working with healing energy. And I'll ask them to support and expand the energy to everyone, every being who would like to take it. You don't have to be anything, you don't have to do anything. You just have to be. And I'm going to invite you to feel a little bit of a tingling or warmth in the top of your crown. Whatever you feel is what you feel. Feel it open up to the energy and feel the energy gently course down your spine like warm honey. If you have any particular areas of your body that you would like to provide attention to, and do that and invite this energy to create a warm bubble around it. And the same for your animals. If an animal exhibits any kind of discomfort, visualize warm healing energy around the spot or around the animal. And in that way you are sharing in the Reiki energy. And as you breathe, I invite you to picture that warm energy expanding out from your body, creating a bubble of warm. And picture little arms of that bubble reaching out to your pets and the animals that you see frequently, wild animals, whatever being you would like to send energy to. Picture that bubble of light expanding to include all of them. And you will be connected together in a bubble of light. If you notice any cool or darker spots in that bubble or in your pet's bubble, give it a little extra shot of light and love to replace the dark, to replace the cool. And now I'd like to have you visualize that warm bubble of Reiki light flushing down your spine and down through your feet, connecting you with the earth below, the heavens above, making you the perfect channel for healing for yourself, for those you love, and for all the beings around you, sharing in the Reiki light. And when you're ready, you can move around a little bit. Come back to this reality. If you like, give permission for the Reiki energy to stay with you and those you love as long as they would like, as long as you would like. When you're ready, open your eyes and come back to the room. And giving thanks for the warmth. And I hope that was as good for you as it was for me.
I want a cigarette.
Stay there. And thank you for that perfect choice of music, John.
Well, I found the music that I personally like because I think it's nice and soft and quiet and stays in the background, and it has undertones of the ocean flowing, so which I just adore. I love the concept of the warm.
Yeah,
I
I do
lo-
too.
I think that's beautiful because I also liked your reference to warm honey because
Mhm.
it gives because not only does it give you a visual, it gives you a feeling of that slow moving warmth coming down through.
And here
Really,
comes my kitty to help.
there you
Hello,
go.
Buffy. I have had for tales for probably another time. I have twice in my life been privileged to feel that warm honey feeling that I know. I call it grace. I don't know another term for me.
Hmm.
When I was directly touched by the divine, I mean, it was just the most incredible experience. So, when I think it was a dog first gave me the impression a long time ago now of the warm, and I realized how perfect that was, and it relates to that warm honey, and the fact that I can then pass that on just is just so precious to me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that was good for you. And now Holly and I are going to go ahead and open up the floor, and you can ask us anything. We can get into whatever topics you'd like to get into, and if you guys had an experience during the session, let us know what you experienced because we'd like to some feedback live on that. And then we can get in, like I said, we can get into any topic you want. We could talk about Reiki. We could talk about anything you want. Anything. John of News stuff, Holly Matson stuff. Just no politics at all. So, if you have a question, just throw it in the chat board, and to me, it was just a lovely session, Holly.
Thank you.
It was just nice and relaxing and calm.
And all I do, I do things that my training taught me, but that's mostly internal. But I do what you just described before. I mean, all I do is open up and do
Right,
what I'm told.
right.
The best way to do it,
When I when
right?
I when I did the channeling workshop, that's the first thing I tell people is to exhale
Yeah.
and just relax and open. And because we naturally hold air in depending on the level of fear we have. And to be in the physical world is to be in fear of some kind, because that's why we're here, is to experience the contrast to pure love, so that we can come to know it. And so to be in the physical world means there's always some fear somewhere. If you didn't have fear, you would not be here. You would be over
Mhm.
there, right? And so you're here to experience. And what's interesting is the natural primal response of fear is to hold air in our bodies.
Mhm.
And and the reason is it's because we're trying to keep our lungs full so we still have air to run further and faster. And to me, it's a beautiful idea of just letting go and letting it come through. And Jenny Brown, I have three dogs that normally just lie around sleeping during the Reiki session. They were still and having a great time playing with each other. It's funny.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome, Jenny. You,
What a great way to experience the energy.
yeah, Holly, you should come down to Fairlawn sometime, and me and Jenny should go have lunch somewhere, because she's like local.
Absolutely.
She's like a
Oh,
local.
that's awesome. Let's do that.
I've never met her in person.
Let's do that. Right, Jenny? Come on. Let's do that.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Yeah. Yes. 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 There you go. Oh, she said yes for all three of us. Do you see that?
Hey, see? All right, Jenny, we're on. We're going to hold you to this.
That would be totally fun. So, Bruce, are you still with us? Did you get anything out of the Reiki session? Or do you have any questions you'd like to ask either Holly or myself about any of this, or anybody, or Jenny, anybody really? But I'm calling out Bruce because he actually said hello. This is Bruce, so I'm going to say hello back and make him say something.
Conversation's great.
Yeah, conversation
And
is
if you
good.
hear purring in the background,
Then
Buffy's
I'll,
face
I'll
is
I'll
very close
stop.
to
All
the
right, I
microphone.
won't purr. I'll stop. I'm sorry.
Her, there she goes. She's moving. She was right close to the microphone.
Of course she's going to purr. She's around you.
Of course.
Holly, do you teach others how to do Reiki for pets?
No. Great question, but I don't teach. I can give you some referrals. Connect if you want to connect with me on Facebook. I could give you some referrals of some people who do, but I'm not qualified. I'm a level two Reiki practitioner, which doesn't qualify me to teach anything.
Mm,
And I'm so much enjoying the practice. I don't know that I really want to get into teaching. But thanks for the thought.
right, right. And for you, Holly, you've always been an animal person. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
ladies.
Animal and energy. I've always been extremely sensitive to energy, sometimes
Yeah.
to my detriment, but now to my benefit.
So you guys who are on here might not know, when you go to Holly's house, she's got the cats running around, and on her back deck she's got the raccoons that come up, and she plays with them, and she gets to know their
No,
babies, and
I
then
don't play with them. I value my limbs.
well, she plays with them through the window, right?
Yes,
But
I do.
she's gotten to know their babies, and they all come up
Mhm.
and hang out at her house, and she's got deer that hang out in her backyard, and I mean, animals just flock to this lady because it just feels
I
good.
am now living in, I won't go into the story because it's too long a story, but I'm renting the home of one of my best friends, the family home. And her parents created this sanctuary here, semi in the woods. So John's right, we have all kinds of wildlife coming through here. And it's great fun for the cats because they'll communicate with whoever's out back through the deck doors. In fact, a couple of the raccoons and the cats do nose to nose through the glass, which is just so cute. And I'm their family created the sanctuary, but I'm really honored that they keep coming back knowing I'm here for 6 years.
Right, right. And you communicate with them, you talk to them, You do all the stuff. It's so I
Yep,
think it's great. Patty, you can ask whatever you want. Don't you worry
that's
about
right.
being rude. If
We
it gets
do not have a cutoff. I'm keeping score, you know.
Holly is like my sister, and we like we don't we just play around. We're sarcastic with each other. We
Yeah.
tease each other. She tells me I'm fat. I tell her she's short. It's all good. You know, it's all good. So whatever you want to ask, feel free. All right. In regards to John, I know you like to focus on present, but people, we're people kinder and gentler in the old or new? And how did you old treat their children? Well, I love this question because everyone likes to glorify 2,000 years ago as if it was this amazing place and thing. If you really want to know what that era was like, imagine Afghanistan and the Taliban. It was literally that patriarchal, that forced religion down your throat. All that was it was a much meaner place to be, much more likely to have your hand cut off for stealing. It was a very brutal place, which is why Joshua stood out because he was so loving and so caring. It was showing him a different way, and what did it do? It ended up putting on a cross in the end. But we are so much more gentle now than we ever were in history. And I know it doesn't seem like it over the past couple of years, but the reason that is because the bad stuff gets more press, right? Right? Because I tell people all the time if I were to have a job up in Cleveland, and I live in Akron, Ohio, if I had a job up in Cleveland, I I would drive a half an hour north and a half hour south every day, and I would probably pass 1,000 cars on the road. And in those 1,000 cars that I pass every day, I might see somebody pulled off to the side of the road with a flat tire or a fender bender or an accident, right? And tonight on the news, what's going to be there? The accident. What should be there? 999 cars made it safely to their destination without a problem, right? In 2,000 years ago, those 999 carts on the road, many of them would have been attacked or robbed or beaten and stolen just for who they were and what they were thinking and what they were doing and what they represented. So we are in a much kinder, gentler world now. And I can tell you, and Holly, please jump in on this and see what your thoughts are on this. When Holly and I used to travel all over the place doing John of New stuff, back in the days when we called it the John of Peniel stuff, and everyone was so wrapped into the past life stuff that they couldn't hear the lessons that we were talking about. And I left the work because I was becoming a crutch for people. It wasn't because I was tired of doing it. It was because I felt like I was a detriment more than a help. And
It became almost like a celebrity kind of a thing, a little bit of hero worship.
yeah, and I was like, that's not. It can't be that. It can't be that. It has to be genuine. It has to be authentic. It has to be real. And coming back to it, a year ago, in 3 days, it'll be a year that I started this YouTube channel. And coming back to it now, I'm so amazed at the difference in people and how they're all. How do I connect? How do I move forward? How do I step into my divinity? How do I do this? And I am doing this, and I believe this, and they hear what I say, and they say, "Well, that's what I believe too." And that's we didn't hear that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You know, now we hear it on. I hear it every day, and so what was it like 2,000 years ago? Not so nice. What's it like now? Much better. Let me jump back over to our questions. Patty says her dog is a handful. Jenny says, sometimes I talk to my pets, but I don't think they listen to me, especially when they're barking at the neighbors' dogs or people that come to visit. What is the best way to communicate with them?
I have some partial answers for that.
Okay, that's
All right,
that's
and
you. That's all
Jenny,
you.
Jenny, I know that you're more spiritually educated. Just I've seen you on here before, so I know that you're aware of some things too. And you probably know, but I'm going to say it anyway. When Be sure to focus on the result you want to see and not on would you please shut up. I have a friend with quite a few animals who focuses very frequently on the fact that that cat's not acting right or that's not what I want, so she gets more of it.
Right.
And if you can remain calm and keeping in mind, again, the disclaimer here, I am not a behaviorist, but when you can keep calm and keep your energy at an even keel, even when they are acting, I should say, especially when they are acting in a way that you wouldn't prefer, and reward them for quiet or reward them for the behavior you do want to see. And that'll go a long way. And also, there's a couple of really, really good behaviorists that are out there. So, again, get in touch with me if you want a referral.
Nice. Nice. Let's see. Thank you so much for the answer. Okay. Dealing with a public stalking situation. On how to First of all, if you're in a stalking situation and it looks like it's a dangerous situation, you need to contact authorities because stalking can get very dangerous. I don't know what your situation is. I can tell you from personal perspective. I have shown up in campgrounds and found people sitting in my trailers. Holly's probably heard that story before, where I had a woman who pulled her kid out of school and followed me around the country, and would just show up in my trailer, in my space, and it gets scary after a while because you have no idea what they're going to do. Stalking, you cannot appease them. Sometimes the only thing you really can do is be the consequence. And the most loving thing you can do is be the consequence. But I don't mean be the consequence of their actions. Be the consequence that stops their actions. So sometimes talking to someone in the authorities, talking to someone like that. For me, because I'm a 6'1" big man who is known to be a fight director and a martial artist and all kinds of things, I am very lucky in that I can be very intimidating very quickly. And so I can say, get out of my house now, and they'll leave. Right? Right. But you might not have that situation. And the most important thing is to realize in situations like that, you have become the substance that they're addicted to. And you can't give them more of you or they'll just get worse. And so you need to extract yourself from a stalking situation completely. And it is the most loving thing you can do, especially if you can find someone who can give them help to get over whatever issues they're dealing with, because they don't stalk unless they desperately are in need of something. Holly, any thoughts on that?
Not my field of expertise, but just from an energetic standpoint, definitely. And I mean, aside from the immediate physical stuff, and keeping that protection around yourself, keeping the mindset that you're worthy of living a happy and safe life,
Right.
while you are also seeking the physical remedies to the
Right.
situation.
And I understand you're asking how to handle it with energy, and sometimes that energy has to be an abrupt energy to them, and sometimes that energy has to be, I'm loving myself enough to get out of the situation. And you can in all of that focus on the best outcome for everybody, but understand sometimes the best outcome is started by the impetus of you saying no, and no is a complete sentence. So you don't have to do anything more really to that. So let me go to the next one. I grew up Catholic, as did John, after my near-death experience 5 years ago, and literally cannot get over what has been drilled into my head over all these years in the Catholic school. Yeah, it's funny how Catholic school has become such a thing, and even right now, pictures of nuns with rulers is a meme. It's like they're known to smack kids with rulers. How Christian, how Christ-like. Let's go to the next one. My father was an evangelical preacher with rampant abuse daily to his children, and I'm changing my way of thinking. It was a very tough life, and this channel is love. Why, thank you. This This channel is love, and that's the goal for this channel. And I will tell you, my friend Holly is the epitome of that love, and that's why
Oh,
she and I have been friends for as long as we have. And when Holly and I met many years ago, it was like an instant bond. Really, it was like, she saw my show before I saw her. But then we finally had that moment of just going, hey, and we sat down and we just talked and we, it just got along. And it was just, there was never a weird moment in there, really. And
and sometime, sorry,
no, you go ahead.
for yet again, it's a cloud around here. Um, there's a certain ring that we could talk about at some point too.
What? A ring? Go ahead.
The
Tell us.
ring.
Go ahead and tell the story.
Do you want that?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Right here in my desk drawer. This, I I can't get a very
You want to
clear
pull it
picture,
back a
but
little bit. Pull it back away from the
this
camera slightly. That's more in focus right there.
this little ring, the again very short version of this is I had many years ago now, what 18 maybe 20 years ago, I was helping run an event that was being held at a church, not by the church. We just rented space, and when we were cleaning up, somebody found this beautiful silver ring. It's silver. And I tried for, I think, a month, 2 months to find the owner through the group that I was there with, through the church, through everybody. Nobody had an answer, so I held on to it. And the inside of it says, and I've already forgotten,
I am the vine and you are the branches.
yes, I'm sorry, John 15:5. And that's the beginning of the quote. I am the vine and you are the branches. And when I when I noticed the inscription on the inside, I literally, I mean, I'm not lying, I got goosebumps. And I knew that there was something important about this. A mutual acquaintance of ours was a really excellent medium and psychic. And I took it to her as part of my own reading. And she said, oh, this is meant for John. The inscription being John 15:5. I thought, that's a coincidence. And so I told John I had something for him. We met up at the event that he was entertaining at, where I saw him all the time. And I gave him this ring. And we both of us got extremely emotional because he had just been, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, he had just been really in that state of, am I doing the right thing by getting into this spiritual work? And here comes, I am the vine and you are the branches. Ooh, and I still get goosebumps.
I
And I will never get rid of that ring.
I I during that time, for those of you who don't know, during that time, I did struggle with my beliefs because I didn't believe in all the woo woo spiritual
Yeah.
stuff. I wasn't there. I was raised as a Catholic, and I was raised with a mom who had her master's. And even at that point, I was already having experiences. I was already having I had huge experiences my whole life. I just didn't know they were. And and every so often, I would have those moments like, what the hell am I thinking? This is crazy. This is crazy talk. And it was about that same time I was really going through a crisis of faith in myself, trying to figure out what it was I believed and what it was I was thinking. And I was like, this is just insane how this is. And, all these psychics had told me, eventually 19 total. And I was like, how can this be? And I was sitting in my Airstream travel trailer behind my friend Bo's house in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And my friend Greg was sharing the camper with, we were down there on vacation. We were traveling south, and we stopped in his backyard. And my friend Greg was there, and we're talking. And I'm sitting there, and I'm reading a book called Edgar Casey on the Millennium. And it's a book by Jess Stern. And I'm reading this book, and I'm like, and I'm in this real crisis of faith, and I literally said, show me a sign. Just show me a sign that I'm not crazy. And I'm reading that book, and I come to page, I think it was page like 36, like early in the book. And it says, Edgar Casey said, John the Beloved would again be named John. And I looked at that book, and I went to my friend, and I said, is that what that says? Is that what that said? And then, like, not soon thereafter, I get this ring that says "You are the vine and the branches," and it was just like this synchronicities of things coming together to show me, maybe I'm not crazy. And it's interesting because back then, I was never a heavy drinker. Early in my 20s when I was living at the beach and we were going to the bars, yeah, I drank some, but I never did drugs in my life, and I don't drink at all now. I don't drink or do any of those things, and it's because it's there's nothing better than what I'm doing right now. There's not. I get to feel that love and that vibration that everyone's striving for when they're drinking and doing drugs. They're trying to find that feeling, and I find it every morning and every evening when I go to bed and I take the time to meditate, and I just it's such a great thing. And all those years ago, that vine, that ring, and that moment was perfectly timed, and kind of gave me the guts to go forward. Patty, you don't have to stop. You can keep asking questions, and I appreciate. I'm glad that it makes you feel better about that stalker. But you just make sure you take care of you in that situation. I have you been to Edgar Casey's, the Association for Research and Enlightenment. I spoke in Virginia Beach, Houston, and Portland at the ARA places. The they're one of my manifestation stories is about going to Virginia Beach, which is interesting. It's what Holly and I lovingly refer to as the broken tooth moment, where I was going to be speaking in Virginia Beach in about 2 or 3 months from that moment, and I'm like, I had this big chip in my front tooth, and I was like, how I want perfect teeth. I want, yeah, I want a perfect tooth. When I go there, I want to be perfect, right? And I said, thank you, God, for the perfect tooth I am receiving. Amen. And I ordered a sandwich from a sub shop up here called Jimmy John's. And the sub came, and I bit into the sandwich, and the tooth broke the rest of the way off. And I knew in that moment I could say, well, that didn't work. Or I could say, cool, where's this leading me? Because I have faith, no matter what happened, it was going towards my outcome. And because it happened to a tooth, and I was just praying for the tooth, that meant to me, this is definitely part of the process. Make a long story short, it led me to talking to somebody who had just become the president of an organization who helps Renaissance Festival performers get medical and dental work, and I got the tooth fixed completely for free. And but it was all because I stayed with my faith, and we call it the broken tooth moment. And I spoke in Virginia Beach, and the Virginia Beach campus of the Association for Research and Enlightenment used to sell a book that was written about me many years ago. I think it's sold out now, so I have a mustache head bothering me. So let's see. See if we have any other questions here. So Holly, when you got into animal Reiki, was it a natural transition to get there, or because I know that you had worked with so many practitioners, you had done so much work with people, and for the longest time you had kind of put yourself in support of others,
Right.
and then suddenly you shifted into this, which was to me perfect because it is very much your authentic self to
Oh, yeah.
what you're doing now. So, but how was that transition for you?
I hear this from a lot of practitioners of all kinds, not just energy healing, that experiencing it themselves led them to want to do it for others. And I had experienced, oh golly, I think it's 20 years ago, maybe now, I experienced my first training with quantum touch, which opened up my mind or my mind and my energy, my spirit, to the possibilities of energy healing. I'd never heard of it, had no conception of it, but it opened my mind and myself to quantum level change, which is why it's termed that. And I never pursued the trainings through that method, but I pursued a lot myself, just individually, a lot of research, a lot of experiencing myself. I had a lot of, Reiki treatments and other kinds. And so it was a natural progression. Um, I'm trying to think now. I was certified in Reiki a little over 2 years ago, but I had already really been doing energy work with animals for quite a long time with quantum touch and then my own intuition. I don't think that anybody must have a certain kind of training to work with animals. I don't believe that. It's just for me and for many people, it gave me a focus. It gave me some tools to use. I mean,
Right.
you can build your house with your bare hands or different kinds of tools. So it was natural progression for me to just kind of shift into doing it in a more focused and more, I don't like the word disciplined way, is that it's not discipline, but you get the idea. I mean, I know having better tools, let's put it that way. My toolbox expanded. So it just felt so right.
Yeah, and it's been fun watching you because I've been watching you like, you know, I often make the joke, in my house I have six junk drawers, and you know what you find in them? Junk, right?
Okay.
And I watched as you've been emptying your junk drawers of
Yeah.
stuff and coming down to this one thing that is so heartfelt and so
Right.
clear. And you know, in the book of John it says, no fear can exist in perfect love, and perfect love is the absolute healing energy. And when you go out there and you do that work, I see you being that perfect love and being
Right.
that essence of that perfect love, and
Mm-hmm.
offering it. And then I think this is just my own theory, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or right, or
You're
if it
wrong.
I'm wrong. Yeah, yeah, and you're fat too, John. I'm kidding.
Don't say that.
I know. I'm just teasing you, but I do say you're short though. um, I'm teasing, but I get off of the topic sidetracked. Boy, my senility is kicking in. Maybe I should start drinking. Holly, my dog is very mean to other dogs, but accepts cats and rabbits. He does like dogs if I can slowly introduce. I
Nice.
had to partake. I had him partake with this session. Did you see?
Good.
Did you see any difference, Patty? Are
Well,
you?
and be careful of setting expectations there too, John, because
Yeah.
I know sometimes I've had I call them pet parents, looking minutely like, is there a change yet?
Oh, right, there you
And
go.
it can be subtle, it
Yep.
can be explicit, it can be non-existent.
It can be slow
What's going
moving
on
too.
in it's whatever's going on inside the animal. But I love the stories like the ones I relayed where there's a really explicit change. That's pretty awesome. And Patty, in a situation like that, it's also possible he had some kind of a trauma with a dog, even just a minor scare that set him up for failure with other dogs.
Right.
I've had situations like that with dogs and cats. In fact, I actually had a situation with a bird that had some traumatic startling and was kind of afraid of things.
Did you see what she just
So
wrote, Holly?
sleeping now, yay!
And that's a real treat for me. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Good.
Well,
See,
that's because it was filled with warm honey.
that's right. He partook of the warm.
That's awesome.
Um, so that's something you can look into and see, if he came from a shelter environment, for instance. So this
Yeah.
isn't the place to diagnose it. I'm just offering opportunities.
And some dogs are are very protective of their owners, and I had the biggest marshmallow in the world named Odin. He was a 110-pound Rottweiler, and he was the biggest lap dog in the world. And he would wiggle when people came in. And he was just this big, lovey dog. And I remember one night in Florida, I had a big fifth wheel travel trailer with big slide outs and everything. And me and my wife and the dog were in the trailer. And another actor didn't have a place to stay, so I let him stay on our couch that night. And we're on there, and we're we're having a great night all night long. My marshmallow dog was all over that guy and loving on him, and it was just a beautiful thing. And then my wife said, I'm going to go to bed. And she went up into the upper part of the trailer and she up two stairs and she climbed in bed. And the dog followed her right in there. And in the fifth wheel trailer, the bathroom is in the upper level. So he says, "Oh, I better." The actor says, "Oh, I should use the bathroom before she gets too settled in." And, and he got up, he walked over, he put his first foot on the step to go up in the upper level, and my dog's teeth came out, and he got a slow growl. He said, "Mom's in bed now. You can't come up here."
Yeah.
And he put his foot back down. He says, he says to me, "Can you get your dog?" Well, when you see a 110-pound Rottweiler smile at you that way, with a low rumble behind it, yeah, you just kind of have that kind of respect. But I think he was a marshmallow, but sometimes they get defensive, and sometimes other dogs coming into the territory can make them defensive as well.
Boundaries. I mean, some of the boundaries are healthy and some are unproductive and learned.
Yeah, yeah. This has been a great session tonight, Holly. I hope you. And where does everybody get a hold of you and find out about more about you? And I
They
understand
do.
you might have a little special offer for the listeners of
I
this.
might. I don't know if anybody's been following my page. I really invite you to check out Light Seeds by Holly on Facebook. I'm on there all the time. That's my main communication method. Also check out my website, lightseedsbyholly.com. And again, it's light seeds plural by Holly, and it showed up, and it'll be in the comments here too. And I am right now through Friday night running a half off special on Reiki sessions. And because of the timing of this event, if if you decide you want a book and you get on the form on my website, again, lightseedsbyholly.com, and just mention John of New in the section where you fill in your description of what you want, mention John of New, and I'll extend the sale through Sunday for this group.
Oh, that's
So
great.
no matter when you're seeing this, if you're seeing this past September the
7th.
10th, Sunday is the 11th. So if you're looking at this from the 12th on, I'm sorry you missed this particular one. But if you can get on and book before Sunday evening, I would love to offer you the half off.
Wow, great. Well, Becky, thank you so much. It's been really a pleasure tonight having. We haven't done one of these live streams in a while, and
It's been
I may start doing them more frequently again.
fun.
I took the summer off, and then I was like, wow, I really like having my Sundays.
Mhm.
And quite, the channel is almost at 4,000 subscribers now, and I'm doing private sessions. I actually had to add a day during the week, so I'm now doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I start at like usually about 10 in the morning, and I go until usually about 10 at night. And now that sounds like I'm doing long hours, but there's breaks in between. There's an hour in between each session because I have to do the channeled writing for each one, like this one here. you know, um, so but I have to do it with the long hours like that because people in New Zealand are on a different time zone, so I have to give them into the evening hours as well. So it's been fascinating. Um, Thank you, Jenny Brown. We'll do lunch sometime soon, there, lady. And thank you, Patty. And I hope you guys all had a great night. Bruce, thanks for coming back and joining us. I saw your little message there. Holly, any last words to these people before we send them out of here?
Always look for the results you want to see and be love. That's simple.
There you go. I could not say that any better. And guys, go out and live a loving life. And I'm going to get back to making more videos so the channel has more. And keep an eye out for Holly. I'm always pitching her stuff. I'm always liking her stuff and bringing her on. So you'll see her again, I'm sure. By the way, if you're ever interested, anybody on this, if you're not in the membership group, every Monday nights. Well, not every Monday. Most Monday nights. Some Mondays I take off, but most Monday nights we have a membership group. It's usually 7 or 7:30, and we just come in. We talk about every spiritual topic you can imagine. You have to join the membership to get it, but you can join at the lowest level and still get it. And But every Monday night, you get to talk to some really cool people about various spiritual topics, and we usually go for about an hour, hour and a half. Isn't that right, Jenny? About an hour, hour and a half. Jenny's always there. She's always the first to arrive. I know the evening has started when Jenny Brown is in the house. So, but anyway, so guys, you have a great night, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at johnofnew.com.